Namaskar, welcome to The Global Eye. Today we dissect a meeting that was hyped as history in the making but ended as little more than theater. The high-stakes Alaska summit between the US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin stretched for nearly 3 hours. Expectations were high. The world waited for a word: ceasefire. But at the end, the only conclusion was there was no conclusion. And a dramatic welcome couldn't be overlooked. Putin arrived on American soil after long, but the welcome he received was less about warmth and more about as if warning. As he touched down in Alaska, the skies thundered with America's military pride. B-2 stealth bombers, the pride of US air dominance, roared above, joined by sleek F-series fighter jets slicing through the clouds. It was an unmistakable message from Donald Trump. Look at America's power. But here lies the question: was this diplomacy or was it theater? Could it actually work? And if it was meant to intimidate, did it work? The answer was written all over Putin's face later. Behind closed doors, inside, two men sat down for a marathon 3-hour discussion. Ukraine was the agenda, of course, and peace was the expectation. But deadlock was the outcome. When the press conference began, Putin took the mic first. Calm, measured, almost professor-like in tone. He spoke for nearly 8 minutes. He called the talks constructive. He reminded Kyiv and European capitals not to, in his words, throw a wrench in the works. And then he made it clear Russia was not stepping back, not giving up the captured territory, and not abandoning its aims. Then comes Trump's turn. Shorter, sharper, and far less structured. He praised the fantastic relationship with Putin. He blamed the so-called Russia hoax for past failures. And then he dangled a phrase, great progress. What that progress was, nobody knows. Because when the journalist leaned in for answers, both leaders refused questions. And we could see symbolism versus substance. The Alaska summit proved one thing: symbolism does not equal substance. Trump flaunted bombers and fighter jets as a backdrop of power, but Putin did not blink. There was no yes boss. There was no concession. For Putin, this war in Ukraine is not about pressure from the sky, but about principles on the ground. NATO's expansion, Ukraine's sovereignty, of course, and Russia's sphere of influence remain his red lines. And unless those aims are met, there will be no end to this war. So, what are we left with after all? The pomp, the pageantry, and the polite smiles. No deal, no ceasefire, no real breakthrough. Trump now plans to speak with President Zelensky and European allies. Putin in turn has invited Trump to Moscow. And the theater continues. But we should ask, beyond the headlines, when military might is displayed as diplomacy, does real dialogue take a backseat? Can flyovers and photo ops ever replace hard negotiations? Did the B-2 bomber over Alaska empower peace or simply showcase power? Is Putin's firm no a mark of principle or proof that compromise is now impossible? And finally, was this a summit for peace or a summit for the cameras? The Alaska meeting may be over, but the war in Ukraine, the deadlock in diplomacy, and the questions about power and peace are far from ending. We are still waiting to hear the word ceasefire. This is the Global Eye, and I am Mousumi, and today I leave you with this. If power cannot bend principle, then what will it take to bend war into peace?